Saturday night's main event review. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling.
Yeah, the return of Saturday night's main event. I thought this was pretty solid. And you may be wondering, looking at us, why are you guys dressed in Chiefs stuff? Well, the Chiefs got a nice victory today as well.
Like 30 minutes ago.
So it's been a great weekend for us.
Yeah, good Saturday Night Live. Or Saturday Night main event.
I'm sure Saturday Night Live was good as well.
I'm sure SNL hit. I don't know. Then followed by a good Chiefs game. But let's get right into this. We start the show, and it is immediately apparent that they went full classical with this stuff. Absolutely wonderful. It was like the set was still the screen, but the screen, when it was doing nothing, looked like the old set with the old W logo. Obviously no F on there, but the old W logo. They even had like the little Saturday night main event little podium where they would do, interviews and stuff. And Jesse Ventura makes his way out, and him and Joe Tessitore are out there talking, and Jesse says it's been 40 years, and he's back. The body is back, he says, and he's wearing, Joe Tessitore's wearing the bow tie, like Gene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a big old throwback. It's good stuff. He talks about how he thinks that Kevin Owens is right. He basically is on Kevin Owens' side, so that was something to look forward to. But Pat McAfee also comes. He's here. Injected some life into the commentary team. Much needed, in my opinion. I absolutely love Pat. But then we get to our first match, Drew McIntyre taking on Sami Zayn. And we were like, this should be a squash match. And it wasn't quite that, but it got the job done, in my opinion. So Sami did not wait to fight. He got in the ring. He started punching immediately. He did the springboard moonsault, and that's when we found out, well, this actually isn't a PLE because commercials are here. It's on NBC. But can't control that. We go on. Drew would catch Sami out of midair after another suicide dive attempt, and he would kind of just fling Sami Zayn over the announce table. Looked absolutely great. Drew McIntyre is a strong human being, and he would dominate Sami Zayn during the entire picture-in-picture commercial break because every match had two of them during this show, but at least it was picture-in-picture. Eventually, Sami would get his comeback until Drew would hit a spine buster, then a nice little power bomb, get a 1-2 there. We get a top rope white noise from Drew McIntyre, but when he was up there, Sami would reverse it into a power bomb, sit down power bomb. He would return the 1-2 on that side, but we'd eventually get Drew McIntyre loading up the Claymore, which would get reversed into the Blue Thunder Bomb, which of course did not pin Drew McIntyre because that move doesn't pin a soul. We then would have Drew rolling out of the ring. Sami would chase him out of the ring, and then when he chased him, Drew would get back into the ring, and then when Sami got in the ring, Drew would finally Claymore him. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre gets the win here. Absolutely great stuff. Not the squash match that we wanted, but it was a quick match. Made Drew look great. You kept Sami, you kept him looking like he can fight against anybody. You saved his stock. This match got it done for me. I'm popping it.
Yeah. So to start out, I guess right off the bat, like you said, the retro look, the old school W. For me, that is my favorite. The red, white, and blue ropes, each rope being a different color. The refs in the old school blue with the bow ties. Just the feel of it. I thought this was awesome. Even the smaller walkways for the wrestlers, like back in the old days, I like that. We see why they didn't do that or why they don't do that because fans just have no respect. So that's a different.
Gunther was not having it.
Yeah, Gunther's not having it. Chelsea Green had a little bit of an issue as well. So it's just like, fans got to be a little bit more respectful. In terms of this match, though, not the squash match we wanted, but like you said, it was fun. It was quick. Nothing really bad about it. Nothing really over the top good about it. Just a quick thing, keep the line moving. Drew got the win as he needed. Like you said, you don't hurt Sami's stock, which maybe they were afraid of if you do a full-on squash match.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Red Guy won, and we're off and running into Saturday night.
No Jimmy or Jay shenanigans after the match. Just cut and dried. Drew McIntyre gets a good old win over Sami Zayn, and it's like, you know what? Sometimes that just does the job, and then that's what we need. Speaking of a match that absolutely did the job, we would have the Women's World Heavyweight Championship matchup next. Iyo Sky taking on Liv Morgan, and everybody and their mom thought, well, there's going to be something here, right? Gotta be a Rhea run-in, Raquel run-in. Something's got to happen. It's a Liv Morgan title match. Something's got to happen. Well, you'd be surprised here. Iyo would absolutely start hot, and she'd hit a springboard moonsault herself. That was like the cue of the night for the first commercial breaks. Somebody would do a springboard moonsault, commercial break. We come back and she would hit a suicide dive to Liv. The second the commercial break was up, she would kind of dominate all through, hit her missile drop kicks that you love so freaking much. Eventually, Liv would hit like a double. Like she did a code breaker, pick her up again, hit another code breaker. It was like a double and try to pin her. Would get a 1-2 ooh there. I was a little bit like, okay, well. Do it again, I guess. How about 3 of them? Iyo had this really cool spot where she kept doing German suplexes and would roll over the German suplex. So she'd do it, hold it in a bridge, and then kick herself up, roll over, and hit 2 more German suplexes. So it was a back-to-back-to-back German suplex. That's some good stuff. Chad Gable, add that to your repertoire. But obviously no pin there. But Iyo would go for a springboard move. She'd like I'm guessing a drop kick again, but she'd go for it and slip off the top turnbuckle. It was a botch, but Liv immediately took advantage of that and hit a code breaker off the move again. And they'd pop up though, and Iyo would eventually go into a crossface submission, and she'd break that up. Or Liv would break that up with the ropes. Iyo would stomp her out, go to the top rope looking for her over the moonsault, but Liv would get her feet all the way up, not even her knees. Like she'd just kick her feet all the way up. Iyo would land directly on her feet, go owie, owie, that hurts. Liv would hit an oblivion. 1, 2, 3. Liv Morgan gets a very clean win over Iyo Sky. Rhea Ripley, of course, has to come out at the end to make sure that we all know that that's next on our plate. But having Liv beat Iyo, clean title defense by herself, loved it. Pop.
Yeah, we talked about some unexpected things, or we were like, hey, what's something that we like, something that moves the needle for me was Saturday Night Main Event. Like, that's what I was looking forward to. Didn't think I would get it out of this match out of everything. So for me, like, this was probably, in terms of like stock improvement, I think this was probably the best of the night.
Yeah.
Because you really solidified Liv as being a champion, as being that solo competitor. Like you said, Iyo does have that minor like slip botch, but I wonder if they were going to do like a code breaker off of that, because it was so quick that you're like, oh, maybe that's what they were going to do. This match was really good. Liv showed in the ring that she can go. I think some people kind of underestimate Liv, or maybe you forget about Liv being able to go in the ring. She was good. She ate a brutal knee to the face that busted her nose. So I don't think it's broken or anything. I haven't seen anything like that. But there was blood, and Iyo caught her, which I always think that adds to it. I always think that's cool. You get the pose down afterwards. No problem there, really. For the first time in a long time, though, at the end of this, I'm like, man, I could see Liv going one-on-one with Rhea. Yeah. And it being like, okay, like, you're still Rhea Ripley, don't get me wrong, but like, you just moved up, and I'm like, you know what, you might be able to do this. Yeah, doesn't it feel good when Liv Morgan's actually just given a match where she can do her thing, show off the skills that she has in the ring, because she is one of the best in the world in the ring, and she gets a clean win by herself, and it looks like she could be the competent champion that we all know that she is. It feels good to finally see that. Like, thank God that they did it this way. Iyo Sky is no slouch. That's a really good win under Liv's belt. And like you said, now you can kind of put Liv on an equal playing field in some people's eyes, where it's like, okay, now this looks a little bit better on paper, because the last few months it's just felt like Liv has no shot. Just feed her to Rhea by now. But now we all knew this match was coming, but now everybody, I feel like, is on a level playing field for once, and that gives me a little bit more interest. They're still going to have to do a lot of work. But, you know. Yeah, there's going to have to be a lot of interest that, I mean, they're going to have to keep at it for me, because for me personally, I was at kind of like a low point with that, with the Rhea Liv stuff. But this at least injected some new life into me to be like, okay, like, I'll give this another chance, because you pulled me back in. Like, you made Liv look competent. She got a win over Iyo, who everybody loves Iyo. Not much more needs to be said. I thought that this was exactly what they needed to do. As much as everybody wants Iyo to win, like, I at least knew that probably wasn't going to happen. Back-to-back matches, no shenanigans. No shenanigans at all. So you're sitting there thinking like, oh, we got to have a stack shenanigans later in the card, right? There's a triple threat match. There's got to be shenanigans, right? Yeah, triple threat is next. Speaking of that, we get our men's world heavyweight championship match. Finn Balor taking on Damian Priest, taking on Gunther. Gunther and Damian right away would just be like, you know what, this Finn guy's been annoying. We don't really like him, so let's just get him out of the way. They'd beat him up for a few minutes, and then they'd get back at each other. There would be a
Damian Priest would throw Gunther out of the ring, and commercials coming, which means we need a suicide dive of some sort. And Damian Priest would go to do like a running
front flip thingy.
Front flip suicide dive over the top rope. And man, he came up short. It could have been a big, big, big injury moment, but Damian fortunately landed it. It looked like, as nicely as he could.
As nicely as he could. I know that hurt. I know that hurt today, though.
Oh, bro. That man.
Flat on his back.
That man got out of bed like, oh. Yeah, I mean, he's no young spring chicken.
He's not young anymore either,
Eventually, we'd have Gunther put the... I love saying it. Gunther was putting the walls of Jericho on Damian, basically, in the ring. Priest would come in there and break it, but Damian Priest at this point would start getting pissed, and he'd start becoming his Terror Twin version of Damian. He clotheslined both guys. Damian really would have a lot of offense in this match. He'd look really strong throughout. He would also go chop for chop with Gunther at one point, and was looking like Gunther's equal. All things were going pretty well here. And then we got, just this end segment. This last 90 seconds of this match was spectacular from all of it. And hopefully I can do a little bit of a justice here. But we'd have Balor would come in and he would start sling blading everybody. But Gunther would end up putting a sleeper on Balor, and Balor would break it. But at that time, Priest was already in the ring, and he tried to get on Gunther, but Gunther would put the sleeper onto Damian Priest. Eventually, Damian Priest would break out of it, pick Gunther up, give a South of Heaven Damian Priest would break out of the sleeper hold. Mm-hmm. Damian Priest, after breaking out of the sleeper hold, would give South of Heaven to Mr. Gunther, and right when he does that, Balor would run back in the ring and give a sling blade to Priest. So all hell is breaking loose at this point. After he gives the sling blade to him, he'd go up to the top rope to try to do the coup de grace to Damian Priest, but Gunther would break that one up because no one can get their finishing move right now. And he broke it up by everybody was on the top rope at this point. And Damian Priest would walk over and grab Balor and grab Gunther and do a razor's edge off the top rope to him. Uh-huh. Everything's going crazy here. Uh-huh. It's a lot, all right?
He's struggling because there's a lot.
It was just bing, bam, bop, bop. I'm doing my best here, all right? We get a coup de grace to Gunther. Priest would give the South of Heaven to Finn, but then Gunther would pop back up and put a sleeper hold on Damian Priest. Yeah, following? Go watch it. Doing my best here. Gunther would then powerbomb, go to the outside of the ring and powerbomb Priest onto steps. Uh-huh. And at this point, Gunther, before he powerbombs Priest onto the steps, he pops up pissed. Gunther, it pops up and they have the camera on him and he's like, I am so done with all these clowns in my ring. And he does a powerbomb to Priest onto the steel steps.
Which Damian's foot clips the steps.
Yeah.
And then so they're Priest is mid-air about to be lifted up for the powerbomb and Gunther's just holding him.
Yeah.
And then Gunther has to use the strength and get him and finally get it. It's God, that could have been bad.
Yeah, but they ended up doing it. It looked clean. So Damian gets powerbombed onto the steps. He's out. Mm-hmm. Gunther's screw this guy in the ring. He gets in, runs over, does a running drop kick to Finn to put him into the corner. Powerbombs Finn Balor right after that into the dirt through the mat. That torpor powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Gunther pins Finn Balor. He beats Damian Priest and Finn Balor, retains his title. Not only does he retain the title here, but that ending 90 seconds made it feel like Gunther put to bed any doubts that anybody had on whether or not he can beat these two. It was a dominating fashion. He is Gunther. He is the ring general. He is a champion. No doubts at this point. This match was awesome. Pop in it. And if you want to make sense out of that last 90 seconds, go freaking watch it because it's hard to write down and explain on paper.
It's even harder to say.
It was bing, bam, bop.
This was match of the night for me in terms of just in-ring.
Yeah.
In terms of the in-ring stuff,
yeah.
I thought this was fantastic. Not saying the other matches weren't good. I thought Saturday Night Main Event had a lot of good actual wrestling that we got in the ring. I was like, okay, this is no games, no baloney, no malarkey. You're just getting right. I don't know why I just tripled down on that, but we just went right into it. We're getting some fisticuffs. We're going at it. And I was really surprised by that, really happy about it. Like you said, for this finish, Gunther puts any doubts aside about anybody taking that title from him anytime soon. To me, this is okay, like I may have doubted myself in the past, especially against Priest. That was kind of the storyline there for a while, but he's found himself again. That drop kick, I love when he throws that drop kick. We don't get to see that drop kick to the corner a lot, but I love when he does that. He solidifies himself. You're looking at it now. Priest and Balor can go off. They can feud. They can continue that away from the title. Now it's like, who's next for Gunther? I guess we'll see. Maybe that's a John Cena type thing.
Oh,
who knows?
That's a big call right there.
Well, the only reason I make that big call is Priest was kind of the only one, at least on the Raw side, that I was like, okay, like this guy's ready to go. This guy can maybe do it. You've got Rollins and Punk in a feud right now. McIntyre's kind of doing his own thing with like OG Bloodline stuff. So like, who knows? But Gunther's been that type of dominant to me. You still had Priest look really, really strong, but you still had Finn being like that conniving heel.
Yeah.
Still get some slithery offense in. Yeah. This was fantastic to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting to think like what's next for Gunther because Damian Priest still has that one-on-one advantage over him, I guess, in terms of like, you know, whenever there has been a one-on-one between Gunther and Damian over the past month and a half, it seems like Damian gets the upper hand. Yet the end of this triple threat match, it felt like Gunther just kills both of them. Like there's no doubts to his win here. So it's like, well, is WWE going to lean into just making Finn and Damian go do their only thing away from the title and you're going to find new feuds for Gunther? I'm not sure. I would be down for that. I would love that and have Gunther, you know, maybe we get the Ludwig turn coming. Maybe we do something like that. I would like to see Gunther get away from the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I would like that as well, especially because like you talk about the Priest stuff. Priest could come back and say like, oh, well, I wasn't the one that got pinned. You could always do that. But my only worry is if they run Gunther Priest back again, well, here comes Finn into it again. You know what I mean? He's like, we're going to do this again.
Then it's Dom, and then it's a triple threat with Dom. And then,
yeah, and so like it gets murky. Kind of like you said, Gunther's pissed. He gets up at the end and he's like, okay, I'm done with this stuff. Done playing the games. And he just destroys these guys to where it's like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm the champ.
Yeah, I loved it. Love Gunther. So
yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And three
with them being unsure of who's next.
Yeah, me too.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, play the crowd. Mm-hmm. And 3 straight matches, no malarkey, as you said. No
baloney,
shenanigans.
No shenanigans. No effery.
No any of that. So I mean, I think everybody's predictions at this point are just out the window. Even if you got all 3 right at this point, things that you thought were going to happen, 0 for 3.
Yeah, I got all 3 right up to this point from our predictions video, but I definitely thought the Liv and Iyo match was going to have something, or, I mean, this match, I definitely thought, okay, you're going to have some Judgment Day something.
Yeah.
And you had none of it.
Nothing.
Just straight down to business.
I mean, business. And we got down to business again with the women's U.S. title. It was time to crown the first ever women's mid-card title in WWE history. And it was Michin versus Chelsea Green. Mm-hmm. We didn't talk about it because we didn't do our SmackDown review, but I like Michin in this match. I predicted Michin in this match, but good Lord, the way they did Tiffany Stratton and the way they did the end of that match, losing clean. Ugh.
Yeah, not only losing clean, but the end sequence was probably better in their head because obviously Tiffany hits her with the moonsault and Michin just like,
I win.
Nope, it's fine. That didn't hit
it's me. It's like in 2K when you hit your finishing move and like it clips out and they don't take any damage. And it's like, what the hell? No, I did it.
And then you get up and then they hit their finisher. And you're like, no, I had to win. That's exactly what happened.
Oh yeah, wait. Before we talk about this match, I do want to point. Jesse Ventura had the talk of the night. They went back to the him and Joe Testator like little interview area. And they're talking about Liv, and he was like, "Did you see that Liv Morgan? She took a shot to the face and kept on fighting. That Dominic really knows how to choose his women." And I was like, "That is a hell of a line, Jesse. You right."
One thing I will say I liked about Jesse, I love Jesse on commentary in the main event. We'll get there when we get there. I thought the best thing for Jesse was he had no interest in looking at the camera the entire night. He was like, I'm going to talk to all these people. Yeah. And I really liked that.
Yeah.
It sucked for the people at home, I'm sure, but cool if you're there. You know what I mean?
Whatever.
That's what we're about.
Anyway, Chelsea Green, Michin. Michin would absolutely start out hot here, but it would lead to, she started out hot. She jumped out hot onto Chelsea, and it got to the point where Chelsea was kind of like begging, and she like kind of grabbed the ref's attention. And when she did, Piper pulled Michin out of the ring and gave her like a really nasty slam onto the outside.
I don't know what the slam's called. I keep thinking it's Abyssa's finishing move.
Yeah, it is.
And I I always think of it as that, like black hole slam or whatever.
I don't know what it's called.
I always like, oh man, there's a business move every time.
Yeah.
I should know what it's called, but I don't.
But of course, that would be followed by a commercial break, which I'm guessing Chelsea got the best of her during that. We didn't see it. And when we come back, Michin immediately gets the upper hand again. I was like, okay, we just missed all of the Chelsea Green action, which is what we're here for. Damn it. But Michin would hit a couple of German suplexes and then hit like a running DDT where she kicks off the top rope. Looks really cool. But Chelsea would follow it up with a Rough Rider. We'd get some rolling sentons outside of the ring from the apron from Michin that would take out Piper and Chelsea at the same time. And then she would actually pick up Piper and give her a foot to face or whatever it's called. Eat the foot, eat the feet, whatever she calls it. But we get into the ring and she would also give an eat the feet to Chelsea Green, but Chelsea would what
did you call it? Foot to face?
Foot to face? What's the difference? Eat the feet, eat the foot to face, foot to whatever. But when she hit Chelsea with it, Chelsea like popped up from it and went all the way across the ring.
Yeah, I was like, when that happened, I was like, did that mean to happen?
She ate it like a stunner. Like how people used to sell the stunner.
I just was like, oh, I love the oversell. Like once I realized it was an oversell with what happened here, I was like, oh, that's nice. But originally I was like, but did he just mess that up?
Yeah. So she's on one side of the ring. She eat the foot, and she pops all the way to the other side. And when they're pinning 1-2, she puts her foot on the rope. Old classic foot on the rope. And Piper is now here. Michin ends up drop kicking Piper again. She can't get rid of that thing. But Chelsea goes to the top rope, and Michin is trying to. Like, I don't know what the move she was trying to do because her back's facing Chelsea because obviously the spot. So she's trying to like, I'm going to say try to razor's edge her or something. But Chelsea ends up rolling over her from the top rope. So she uses her feet and kicks off the top rope and rolls over Michin, lands on her feet, perfectly setting up the unprettier. And she hits it on Michin. 1, 2, 3. Chelsea Green is your first ever U.S. women's champion. This was absolutely the right call. Red, white, and green, baby, all day long. So happy about this. I'm popping it.
Yeah, you kind of have to pop this. I mean, the right person won here. The red, white, and green. The match itself was good. It was entertaining. I had fun. You talk about, I guess, how over Chelsea Green is, and like, I feel like I really started to see that around like the Money in the Bank time. People were like, she needs to win that. She needs to win that. The crowd on Saturday Night Main Event for her, like she had a roll up and it was like 1, 2. And it was like almost like Mania levels of like how behind these people were for her. Couldn't be happier for her. That pesky Piper out on the outside just kept messing with Michin. It comes into play eventually. Chelsea Green gets the win. Much deserved. And I mean, this is so far up until this point in the night for me, I'm like, man, this has been perfect.
Yeah.
This has been great. And Chelsea Green getting that, I mean, you can't be happier.
I mean, I think it's for sure that this was, first off, 100% the right decision. The crowd was very much like almost ECW one night stand. Like if Chelsea loses, we riot. It was her or nothing. Yeah. It felt like I'm totally fine with her eventually dropping the belt to Michin if you want to do it that way. I think they're probably going to go more toward the Piper route. They'll do some sort of, betrayal or Chelsea will get too cocky of herself. WWE loves to see their groups and factions break up, their tag teams break up as of recently. But we need to see Chelsea Green just utilizing that belt and establishing it right away. Let's get her title defenses. Don't shy away from just having this thing be a workhorse belt. She can do it. She can sell with the absolute best of them. She makes everybody look great in there. So let's get this new era of mid-card women's wrestling started with her and start it hot.
Yeah, and I think that is really important for the mid-card. Like somebody had mentioned in our Discord on the watch along, like Chelsea Green has had issues with everybody backstage, so there's no shortage of who could be the first defense or the second or the third or whatever the case may be. Give her a long title reign. I mean, I'm not asking for like a year, but you could give it till Mania. I have no problems with that. Yeah. This is going to be must-see TV. It's going to be fantastic. As for who's next, I don't know, to be honest. I don't really care. I know it's going to be fantastic. I know it's going to be great, and Chelsea Green was the first one, and nobody remembers the second one. Everybody always remembers the first.
Yep. Chelsea Green, long reign. Mm-hmm. And Chelsea we trust. Okay, we get to our main event, the big one. The big one. We get Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and what happened when Cody made his entrance. He never comes out with his robe all the way buckled. It's never buckled all the way. And you're going, why is that robe buckled all the way? And when he hits the woe in the middle of his entrance, he unveils the Winged Eagle. And it looks so good. The OG Winged Eagle belt around his waist. And you know, we've all fantasized the idea of Cody bringing that belt and what would it look like. Well, it looks damn good, WWE. It looks damn good. I'm a fan of the current Undisputed title. I like it a lot more than most people, but you can't deny that thing looks like that belt fits in any era. It is a wrestling belt. Yeah, that's it.
It fits in, and like you said, we have for a long time at least speculated, like, when is he going to do it? Because it's been rumored forever.
Yeah.
So when's he going to do it? How's he going to do it? I thought this was perfect with the set, with like the retro feel, the retro vibe. You have Charles Robinson at the end, like at the beginning, holding it up, and the spotlights and everything on it. I'm like, oh my god, this is fantastic. This is perfect. Like at this point, I didn't even need the match.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm sold.
Charles in the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it was so good. But we would get a match. Mm-hmm. And KO would immediately leave the ring. He wanted none of the fight. And what was he doing? He wasn't just being a dick and walking around for no reason. He kept looking at that Winged Eagle belt. Mm-hmm. He kept walking over because they do that little podium now during title matches where the belt's perfectly sitting on it with the little red velvet. And he keeps looking at it like, of course they gave Cody the Winged Eagle belt. You could just see the jealousy in his face. He's like, of course, the Golden Boy gets this.
And I thought it was really important. I guess we should talk about Kevin Owens' entrance attire as well. He comes out with I guess it's Kevin Owens, the Canadian Dream. It's Dusty Rhodes with Kevin Owens' face on it. And I'm like, man, this is perfect. Earlier in the night, they do like the walk-ins, the walk-arounds. Cody leaves the bus, and Kevin Owens is walking in, and he's got a Gold Dust shirt on. Yeah. I'm like, God.
And on SmackDown, he had a Stardust shirt on.
Yeah. I'm like, this Kevin Owens is fantastic.
There's videos on Instagram and Twitter and stuff of him spray painting a star on Cody Rhodes' face in the backstage area. And it's like, okay, this man is just doing all the extracurricular activity that makes wrestling fun. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love it. But when he's looking at the Winged Eagle, of course, Cody would go for a suicide dive to Kevin Owens, but we wouldn't get a commercial break because the whole point of that was he did complete the suicide dive, but owie, my ankle still hurts. So we are selling the ankle after Friday Night SmackDown where he didn't sell the ankle.
I don't know. Jesse Ventura's like, oh, that's a bad ankle. I'm like, Jesse, how'd you know about the bad ankle? Because if I had just watched Friday Night SmackDown the night before, I would have known nothing about the ankle.
Yeah. Very cool thing. They stay on the outside. Kevin Owens pushes Cody into the post, brings him over to the table, and he does the Randy Orton just pick up, drop onto the announce table that he always does, and he looks into the camera and he goes, hi, Randy. I mean, KO was just doing it all. I can't get enough of him. I really just can't. We get a KO would go into the ring, throw him in the ring. He'd hit a top rope swanton, 1-2, ooh, there. Match would spill outside again, and they go all the way to the freaking announce table, but this time they're on top of it, where Cody Rhodes is like, you can't disrespect my friend Randy and get away for it. Cody Rhodes hit an RKO to Kevin Owens on the announce table. Didn't break.
It's important because it's not a Cody Cutter. They made sure to call it an RKO. They wouldn't do that if it didn't mean something. You know what I mean?
They called it the RKO. Michael Cole called it the RKO. But speaking of the cutter, he literally threw Kevin Owens into the ring and then hit him with a Cody Cutter. 1-2, ooh. I was like, damn, he's doing all the cutters. This man's cutter crazy. But Kevin Owens would get a little bit of a comeback, and he wasn't done doing his moves either. He'd hit that top rope fisherman suplex to Cody that always looks absolutely brutal every single time. 1-2, ooh, as well. But then the shenanigans happen. So, well, actually not shenanigans, then just the craziness of the final match happened. We have Kevin and Cody were just kind of stand up fighting in the middle of the ring, and Kevin would end up turning Cody and kind of just shoving him. And he didn't see it, but he shoved Cody into a ref bump. Charles, you know, he's the best of them when it comes to ref bumps.
He might be number one on my all-time ref bump list.
He loves a good ref bump, and he goes flying out of the ring.
That's going to be a video idea. Top 5 ref bumps.
It's got to be whenever the rings break and the ref like goes crazy. But Cody would turn around after sending Charles out of the ring, and he'd eat a stunner. And of course, KO would pin him for like
7 to 8?
Yeah, 8-9 seconds. No ref until he realized that. We would get another ref run into the ring, and Cody at that point would get his head back on, and he'd hit a Cody Cutter. But when he hit the Cody Cutter, he'd accidentally hit the ref during the Cody Cutter, the other ref. And
he goes for the springboard, and Kevin moves.
Yeah.
And he cross bodies him, which is like why are you going to cross-body him if you're going for a Cody cutter?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't understand that.
He accidentally hit the ref on the Cody cutter, but you're right. It was more of like a cross body. KO at that point would then throw Cody into the ring post, and he'd grab a chair. But of course, you can't. KO can't get that chair shot off. It's Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes kicks him, goes for the Cody cutter, hits the Cody cutter. Then he picks him up. There's the chair laying in the center of the ring, and Cody Rhodes goes for it. Crossroads onto the chair, goes for the pin, and there's still no ref in the ring. But Charles Robinson pops up on the outside of the ring. It's on the outside of the ring. The
ref is still knocked down, and Cody basically says, get up, and he shoves the chair out of the ring, basically over Charles's head.
Yeah.
And the sound must have woken Charles up. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, because he does the crossroads onto the chair, and the chair's laying next to him, and he's like, oh, well, Charles is a smart man. He's going to disqualify me. I'll throw the chair out of the ring. But he slides it like right over Charles's head as Charles is getting up.
Charles clearly he was groggy still, and the sound of the chair hitting the mat, hitting the outside, had to wake him up.
But Charles Robinson counts the pin while standing on the outside of the ring. He just leans over with his left hand. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes gets the win.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No one's ever seen that before. No one's ever seen that before. But Cody Rhodes gets the win over Kevin Owens here. End of the PLE. And that was great. But then we end the PLE here on a great note. Right?
Yeah, we end the PLE, we end the stream. We're getting ready to walk out.
I mean, the freaking news channel's now on our television. It's done. We're getting, we had we celebrated my wife's birthday right afterward, and we're checking through all of our stuff, and our Discord keeps popping up. KO just attacked Cody, and he took the belt. I'm like, what? Kevin Owens, after the match, decides to package pile drive Cody Rhodes center of the ring. He steals the Winged Eagle belt. Triple H comes out. They get into a pushing, shoving match. He storms out. So
Cody is on a stretcher.
Cody's on a stretcher. All hell breaks loose.
People are chanting, "You deserve it." Cody's on a stretcher. Kevin is fighting with Triple. Like, what the hell is going on?
Put it on TV. What are we doing here? Anyway, we'll add that into our review here. All this is spectacular. I absolutely love it. Of course, I kind of wanted Kevin Owens, and I predicted Kevin Owens, a shakeup happening there. But if they're going to continue it this way, and Kevin Owens is showing up every single week with the Winged Eagle on his shoulder, and Cody's in like a neck brace, dude, this is going to cook. This is going to be such a great addition to this rivalry.
Yeah, you got to pop this. This was fantastic. Yeah, I guess Kevin Owens can hold on to that Winged Eagle, and then Cody's like, well, that's not the real title. I've got the real title. Kevin's like, foiled again. This match was fantastic. The ending is very interesting because you have Kevin getting the win technically with like the 7 to 8 seconds. You're like, damn it, I had Cody beat. He brings the chair in, which costs him. Cody uses the chair, and Kevin's going to say, well, you had to use a chair to beat me. Like, it furthers both people's sides. Cody's like, well, you pushed me into the ref. That wasn't my fault. Yeah. So you have the logic on both sides, which I think is just fantastic stuff. The stuff afterwards, I mean, that's like cinema stuff. I wish we would have gotten to see it. I know people are going to say, well, it's to drive people to social media. Well, I don't care. Put it on TV.
Yeah, I agree.
We need to see that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's cute every once in a while to do the whole off-air social media. Like, that makes it feel real and legit, and I love it. It's awesome. But during a PLE, or I guess this wasn't a PLE, but during a show that kind of was spectacular in-ring stuff, but fell flat in terms of shock and awe, that was shock and awe. Yep. So give us shock and awe at the end of it, man.
Well, and I think to your point, like, it's okay to do it every once in a while. Yeah. This feud started that way, right? In terms of the fan video footage or whatever of Kevin attacking Cody. That worked because for me, it's like, it's outside the tour bus. Like, it's not in the ring.
Yeah, good point.
Then it's in the ring stuff. Like, okay, you should have that on the TV if it's in the ring stuff. All the other stuff, the fan footage stuff, if that happens outside of the ring, that's fine.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to write Cody off until at least Raw on Netflix or just a few weeks, and Kevin Owens is just going to be showing up to SmackDown every week with the Winged Eagle title, just claiming that he's champion.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, they already pre-recorded SmackDown for this upcoming,
I didn't see it.
For this upcoming week, so we don't know any of the spoilers. And then you have, obviously, like the holiday break, and then you've got Raw to Netflix pretty shortly after that. So, yeah, I mean, Cody just maybe celebrates the holidays with the family. Kevin Owens gave him a vacation, I guess, and he comes back Raw on Netflix maybe.
Yeah, just to reestablish it, man. This was good. The after the match stuff was really good, whether or not it was on social media or not. It was really good because we were, a lot of people were like, if KO loses here, then you're just like, okay, well, that's that with this too. Like, what's next? But like, doing this off the air, stealing the belt, the pile driver, putting him in a stretcher, the logic within the match, like you said, well, Cody can be like, well, you shoved me into the ref, you lost. But then Kevin Owens like, I didn't know I shoved you in the ref, and you had to use a chair to beat me. You're right. There's just so much logic, more logic and reasoning added to this extremely logical and reasoned rivalry that we have here. So it's just like, we can get a natural continuation that doesn't feel forced. Yeah. Honestly, I'm more interested in it now than I even was before the PLE yesterday.
Yeah, and as you were mentioning that or talking about that stuff, a thought kind of came into my head like, okay, Cody stretchered out, right? So it's not just like a normal neck brace type of thing. I mean, maybe that's how they do it, but this opens the door potentially for Randy could maybe come back.
Yeah.
Like you could somehow incorporate that as well because now Cody's the one out and now maybe Randy fights for Cody's honor or whatever you want to do. Like there's a lot more questions now than just, oh, well, Cody beat Kevin. Like who's next? Do they run it back? Like now there's different branches that you can do. It's just fantastic stuff.
Yeah. Not much shock and awe. No huge risks taken. No championship turnover except for Chelsea Green winning the first one. Mm-hmm. Not a lot. No shocking run-ins that we all predicted to happen. But this was a strictly great in-ring PLE/show. That the pacing was fantastic. The branding was absolutely fantastic. The crowd was fantastic. I give this show just a perfect pop. I love it. We have 10 pops to 0 drops. There really was nothing to complain about here. Just a great show.
Yeah, just a fantastic show. You hook people in right away with the nostalgia, the retro feel.
Yeah,
and then you get great in-ring wrestling stuff. I know we were a little nervous about like, well, how can you do 5 matches with 2 hours, but then you have commercials and I understand that sometimes commercials could have gotten in the way. Maybe you're like, oh, less commercials, but unfortunately, that's just how WWE is, especially that NBC. I mean, that's just regular TV, unfortunately. But great stuff, great kind of return for Saturday Night Main Event, even though it is, a glorified house show, maybe people want to say. But I thought this was fun. I thought it did the job and kind of a good send-off for 2024 into 2025.
Amen. Looking forward to the next one. It's holiday season, so let's get after it. Mm-hmm. Follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Come watch along with us on Twitch, twitch.com/COD WrestlePod. I think we may be streaming to YouTube as well, so you can also just do it here. Mm-hmm. It'll be our last stream of the year because I am selfish and have to go overseas for Christmas. But follow us out there. Follow us. Our link tree in our bio has all of our socials. Be chatting in there. In our Discord and everything. We love talking to you guys, and we really appreciate the support.
I had a great Saturday Night Main Event stream.
Everybody
was fantastic. Everybody was great. You had the back and forth of people getting all the matches right. You also had back and forth of people getting all the matches wrong. So, I didn't say it. I wasn't going to throw them out like that,
Anyway, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.